Okay, we are going to get into a state I know very well, and it's in New England, and I've been down there many times. No, I don't live in Connecticut. I have family that live down there from my mom's side, and they live in one of the most well-known cities whose haunted locations in Connecticut, although Connecticut is one of the states that has some really good haunted locations. And since I am limited this to only 10 places, I only have one location I picked out that is in the city my family and mom grew up in. And if you are a GA fan, you may know it already. Anyways, I don't need to explain how this list works. Watch the other top 10 scary places videos I did, depending on when you're watching this, so you know what this is all about. Although the topic should already explain it, and let's dive right into some scary places with Top 10 Scary Places of Connecticut. Number 1, Union Cemetery, Easton. Down the road nearby in Easton, Connecticut, is a cemetery. Yeah, it looks like a normal cemetery with an obvious reason for being a scary location. But this cemetery and its hauntings are well known to everyone, not just in the state of Connecticut or the town it's located in. The reason for its widespread popularity can come from no other than famous paranormal investigative couple Ed and Lorraine Warren, who have investigated the grounds for the haunting activity that had been reported there, which probably can go back to its founding, etc. All ghost hunters alike, including locals and also my aunt, knew the stories, and that the cemetery is peak haunted, known for being the most haunted location in Connecticut. One of the popular legends of the cemetery is about the White Lady ghost. This ghost is said to haunt the cemetery as this is where she was murdered by her husband. Like, well, all White Lady ghost stories, she is described as wearing a white dress. Some say her dress is either a nightgown or a wedding dress. Her ghost appears to anyone who is driving on the road and appears right in front of their cars. But once they stop so they don't run into her, she mysteriously disappears and there's nothing that indicates that someone like her was there. Another spirit known in the cemetery is known as Red Eyes, who, has this name suggest, had red eyes, and seems to watch people who come to the cemetery from the shadows. As for the Warrens' visit to the place, they made a book simply called Graveyard. It's also known that Ed Warren was very scared of this location. Number 2, the Warrens' Occult Museum, Monroe. Speaking of the Warrens, we can't forget to talk about the place where all the stuff they have collected over their years as paranormal investigators can be seen. Sadly, now you can't actually go and visit this museum in Monroe, Connecticut anymore. Despite the reasons to why it's shut down now, it opened by the Warrens in 1952. All creepy artifacts are kept in here, lock and key. Especially one object that no one and should not open is the box which contains the real-life Annabelle doll, who is actually a Raggedy Ann doll, not that porcelain smiling doll in the movies based on the story. We all know the story of Annabelle, but one story which you probably don't know or if you've recently heard about, when Annabelle was put on display in the museum, is the alleged motorcycle accident she caused. The story goes that a boyfriend and girlfriend who visit the museum somewhere in the 80s were not listening to the Warrens when talking about the doll. The boyfriend taps on the glass to Annabelle's box and tells it to prove something. Well, he got what he was asking for, I suppose. When the girlfriend and boyfriend left on the motorcycle earlier, either being kicked out or not, they joked it about Annabelle on the ride, only for the boyfriend to lose control suddenly of the motorcycle and crash into a tree. The boyfriend dies, but the girlfriend survives, and we can agree was traumatized after that. Number 3. Bara-Hack Settlement, Pomfret. In the town of Pomfret, Connecticut is a desolate area filled with stones that are overgrown by the surrounding forest. But these stones and cemetery, which is still intact the way it was in the heyday, are what all remains of the former village Bara-Hack, also known as Bara-Hack Settlement. The Bara-Hack Settlement was a place founded by Jonathan Randall and Obadiah Higginbotham, both colonists of English ancestry from Rhode Island, who also have Welsh heritage, which is why they came to Connecticut to create a community representing that. All seemed well until a period of economic hardships during around 1890, and what possibly caused by the Civil War, had the village quickly abandoned. All that remains of the village today were the stones foundations of former houses and the cemetery, but over the years the place became private property and part of Pomfret. The area was once Bara-Hack, has been dubbed the Village of Ghostly Voices. Why? Well, from reports of people who have visited the site, have reported hearing disembodied voices, especially when approaching the former village. Number 4. Captain Daniel Packer Inn, Mystic. Although I have been to Mystic, Connecticut once, which was recently back in August of 2021, this seems to be one of the most beautiful locations there that I've sadly definitely missed and didn't get to see. This place is an inn and restaurant which was originally owned by a sea captain named Daniel Packer in the 18th century, hence the name of the inn today as well. However, the reason this place is claimed to be scary is because its close proximity to the location of the Mystic Massacre, which was a war between Native Americans and settlers of Connecticut in that area, involving a fort of a Native American village named Pequot, and about 400 to 700 of the residents were killed in the attack. I'm not going into much detail on the Mystic Massacre since this list isn't about it, but be sure to look it up for more details if interested. But back to the location of the list. Since the inn is close to where the massacre took place, guests have reported seeing the spirits from the massacre and also the ghost of the old sea captain, along with objects that move around the restaurant. Number 5. Charles Island, Milford. Charles Island in Milford, Connecticut may seem like your average island, although the island is best known for having a bird sanctuary and adjoining sandbar that you can go visit. The island is also cursed. What a surprise! But no, it's not cursed once or twice, but there are 3 curses. The first 2 curses are said to have been placed in the 17th century, and the third in the 18th. The third curse is well known because it's associated with one of the famous pirates in history, Captain William Kidd, also known as Captain Kidd. It's said that he buried some of his treasure somewhere on the island. The curse is placed on the treasure to anyone who finds it. It will have bad luck for the rest of their lives. So, treasure hunters, you might want to skip looking for this loot if you don't want bad luck on your hands. Number 6. Evergreen Cemetery, New Haven. So, where is our next haunted cemetery located in New Haven, Connecticut? Evergreen Cemetery has a legend that goes back around to 1824. A woman named Mary E. Hart had fallen to the floor somehow, but was deemed dead by her family. She was then buried in a grave at the cemetery. However, after this, her aunt happened to have a vision that seemed to tell that Mary was still alive. They had accidentally buried the poor woman alive. The family quickly exhumed her body, only to find that Hart had tried to escape the casket, only making it to the top before eventually dying as a result of her attempt to escape her buried tomb. She has become affectionately known as Midnight Mary, as she now stalks the grounds of the cemetery. The legend also says that if you're at the graveyard by midnight or decide to desecrate her grave, which would be stupid, why would you do that? Her spirit will come for you and then kill you, so you better watch out. Number 7. Gunntown Cemetery, Naugatuck. According to Ed and Lorraine Warren, they deemed this cemetery to be officially haunted, and visitors to the site agree to this as well. An old cemetery located in Naugatuck, Connecticut. A lot of people buried here are citizens who supported independence from British rule during the Revolutionary War. The cemetery was established in 1790 and named after a settler family known as the Gunn family, who settled in the area in the 1600s. Ghost sightings that had happened at the cemetery, and according to why the Warrens say this place is officially haunted, are in some reports a lot of ghost orbs, goblets, or electro mist. Some people say they can even see colorful orbs filtering about the grounds with the naked eye. For legends, there is said to be a ghost of a man leading a ghost horse, music mysteriously playing, children laughter, and a mysterious black dog who is said to be the harbinger of death. Number 8. Holy Land, U.S.A. Waterbury. Now, a lot of us, when it comes to topics of scary amusement parks, may know what Holy Land, U.S.A. is already. Like, I certainly do. But I didn't know it was in Connecticut. Actually, I thought it was in Nevada or California, but it seems I was wrong. If you get on I-84, the first thing you'll see of Holy Land is its big cross on the hill, which can be seen. This place is a theme park based on religion, founded in 1955 by devout Catholic attorney John Greco, but it's sadly been decaying ever since it closed back in the 1980s. The site has replicas of biblical sites, which boatloads of people would have visited. But now it's for creepy curiosity, just by how it's been rotting away with no one doing anything with its remains unknown. Number 9. Little People's Village, Middlebury. Little People's Village is definitely a mysterious place, especially to why it was built in the first place. You can find it in Middlebury, Connecticut, and it's one of the creepiest locations in Connecticut. But as legends and rumors go about its construction, the story goes that a man's wife claimed to see fairies that roam around the area. And if all these Black's Book series on fairies have told me anything, they'll mess you up when they please and want to. Some even say the wife was a witch, or it was just a guy living by himself in a stone cottage. But either way, he builds the tiny village for the fairies. These tiny stone houses are all over the forest area. Either way that you know how the story goes, people have claimed to see the spirits of fairies in the area. And there is also a throne at the center of the village, which says that if you sit on it, you'll die in 7 years. Well, at least not 7 days, so guess that's okay, but there's no way I'm sitting or touching that. Drone? Nope. Number 10. Old Remington Arms, Bridgeport. Okay, now we get to go to the place where my mom and her side of the family are from. Also Ed Warren's hometown as well. Bridgeport has a lot of scary places, and some I didn't even know about until doing this research. But it's also the stories behind some of these places that take the cake and make Bridgeport that scary. Like this place, and Ghost Adventures should know it as well. Old Remington Arms, or also known as Old Remington Arms Munitions Factory, is a very striking place. This place was one of the largest weapon manufacturers in the country, and a lot of workplace disasters happened at the factory during its operation. There was even an explosion which killed 7 of the workers. Today, the factory is abandoned, and some buildings have been knocked down since then. Well, I guess Stewie Griffin was right about Bridgeport having abandoned buildings all over the place.
This can't be it. This can't be Santa's workshop. This looks like Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Oh boy, get ready for the letters.
Dear Family Guy bastards, who the hell do you think you are? I'll have you know that Bridgeport is among the world leaders in abandoned buildings, shattered glass, boarded up windows, wild dogs, and gas stations without pumps. So eat my
But people who have gone to the factory have claimed to see lurking in the shadows and disembodied voices. And for any evidence that Ghost Adventures collected on their time there, see Season 2, Episode 10. It's also one of my favorite episodes. Now, usually I'll end the list once I get up to 10, but since Connecticut has so many haunted and scary locations to choose from, it can be hard to pick, so I decided that so no one goes yelling at me in the comments for missing these locations, I'll be sure to add them here in the honorable mentions. So let's get started already. Old Trinity Church, located in Brooklyn, Connecticut, is the oldest Anglican church in the state. The place is said to be haunted by a young girl who died near the vicinity of the church, and where a serial killer named Michael Bruce Ross frequented in the 1980s. Palace and Majestic Theaters, located in Bridgeport, which has been sitting in disrepair despite talks of renovations, has many EVP sessions inside. There are shadowy figures and orbs of light that are said to roam around the place, and reports have said this place was also the base of operation for infamous bootlegger Dutch Sports, who is said to have killed people in the building. Sawmill City Road in Stelton has a story known as the Melonheads, who are said to roam the forest in the area. There are sayings that they could have been escaped mental patients or an experiment gone wrong. The story goes that if you drive down this road at night, you will have objects tossed at your car, and in some cases the Melonheads will even chase you. Staring Opera House in Derby was the center of vaudeville entertainment in lower Naugatuck Valley. After closing in 1945, people who have visited the now defunct theater report seeing orbs of light and apparitions, and also voices of children. Northwich State Hospital near Pearston and Northwich, which has operated for 90 years until its closure in 1996, has many deaths, including 2 employees during a water heater explosion. The Yankee Parlor Inn in Torrington is inspired the horror film The Innkeepers. Room 353 is the most haunted in there. It's said this is where Alice Cornley was rumored to have died, and guests of the room reported strange smells and apparitions appearing before them. Stephanie Cemetery in Monroe is the place where Ed and Lorraine Warren are buried, and it's said the White Lady Ghost of Union Cemetery also haunts here too. Snake Meadow Hill Road in Sterling, also known as Gravity Hill, has a legend that if your car is in neutral at the intersection of Snake Meadow Hill Road and Main Street, your car will climb up the hill on its own. Is it witchcraft or a malfunction in the gravitational pull of the earth? That's for you to decide. Seventh-day Baptist Cemetery in Burlington has the story of a woman named Elizabeth Palmer who drowned in a nearby swamp in the 19th century. No one was able to save her, and now her ghost haunts the cemetery as the Green Lady at night. Other quick mentions go to Seaside Sanatorium, the house on Lindsay Street, Pine Grove Cemetery, Booth Memorial Park, Penfield Reef Lighthouse, Mansfield Training School and Hospital, Lake Compounds, Great Hill Cemetery, and Fair Hill State Hospital, and a lot more locations. And that's all the locations in Connecticut I'll talk and mention that are considered to be scary places. I hope you enjoyed it, and finally I get to do scary places in my home state of Massachusetts. Like I did with Bridgeport, I definitely need to find at least one haunted location in Worcester. Because I am dissatisfied that no other article or other source does talk about a haunted place from there. Well, I'm going to change that. So look forward to that. Also, make sure you vote for your favorite location on this list, which you can find in the community tab, so we can pick on the location to take the Connecticut scary spot for the other list I'm planning to do for all the 50 states. But yeah, that's all, and bye. And do not mess with these places, by the way. Like, why would you? That make it look stupid.